It had been a brutal shift, 12 hours straight on your feet. Just as you're about to close, a heavy fist slams against the glass door. You look up and see a man, soaked to the bone, shivering, with eyes full of a wild, desperate hunger. He isn't holding a leash or a pet carrier. He's holding a man. His friend is slumped over his shoulder like a sack of grain, one arm dangling limp and lifeless. The injured man is pressing a blood-stained towel against his stomach, but the red is winning. The fabric is soaked through, and you can see the dark fluid dripping onto the wet sidewalk, swirling into the rainwater. You instinctively wave them away. You point down the street toward the city hospital. It's only 4 blocks. They have trauma teams, real surgeons, and sterile theaters. You're just a veterinarian. You try to shout through the glass that you don't have the equipment. But the man doesn't leave. He pulls a heavy pistol from his jacket and taps the cold metal against the window. The message is clear. You unlock the door. They stumble inside, and your quiet, sterile clinic is instantly plunged into chaos. Mud on the tiles, water pooling by the entrance, and blood. A thick, dark trail leads from the door straight to your exam table. The gunman kicks the door shut and locks it. You help him hoist the heavy body onto the metal table. It's a bullet wound, jagged and deep. You try to protest. You tell him you fix broken paws and give rabies shots. You tell him you remove ticks and trim the nails of overweight house cats. You've never touched a human wound in your life. But the gunman isn't listening to your resume. Fix him, is all he says. In that short sentence, you hear the unspoken truth: fix him, or join him. You look at the wound, then at your medicine cabinet. You don't have human morphine or surgical-grade tools. You have to improvise. You reach for a bottle of Tranquil. Eyes are meant for horses. It's a powerful sedative, designed to drop a 1,000-pound stallion in 30 seconds. You start doing the math in your head, terrified of the variables. You calculate the dose for a grown man, praying your numbers are right. If you're off by a fraction, his heart will simply stop. You inject the line. The man groans, his eyes roll back, and his body finally goes slack. He's under. You have maybe 20 minutes before the anesthesia wears off. You work with a frantic, cold precision. You clean the debris, find the internal damage, and begin to close him up. You use heavy blue nylon thread, the same kind you use for Great Danes and German Shepherds. It's going to leave a jagged, ugly scar, but it holds. The gunman watches every movement, silent as a statue. When you tie the final knot, the gunman finally steps forward. He reaches into his jacket, pulls out a thick, heavy envelope, and tosses it onto the patient's chest. "Keep your mouth shut," he growls. "Buy yourself something nice." He carries his friend out the back door into the rainy alley. You don't offer to help. You just stand there, hands shaking, watching them disappear into the shadows. You're alone again. You open the envelope. $5,000 in cash. Part of you wants to call the police immediately. Show them the blood on the floor and the money in your hands. But the clinic is failing. The rent is 2 months late. Your daughter's college fund is a joke. And you're falling further behind every day. Besides, men like that have long memories. You saw the gunman's eyes, cold, calculating, and predatory. Reporting them would bring a kind of trouble that 911 can't fix. You mop the blood. You hide the money behind the old tax returns. You tell yourself it was a one-time thing. A fluke. But 3 nights later, your phone rings at 2 a.m. You're half asleep on the couch, watching an old movie. It's an unknown number. You answer. The vet who works late, the voice says. "I heard you do good work. A friend of mine needs help. Same situation. Double the pay. You should hang up. You should run." But you think about the tuition bills on the counter. You give him the address. The second patient is a woman, hurt badly. You clean her up and give her 47 stitches in a neat, careful line. When they leave, they hand you an envelope with $10,000. You start keeping the back door unlocked on Tuesday and Thursday nights. Word spreads through the gutters of the city. You don't ask how, and you don't ask for names. A man with a shattered kneecap shows up. You set the bone with a splint meant for a mountain dog. A woman with chemical burns arrives on a Thursday. You wrap her hands in gauze and give her antibiotics meant for livestock. Everyone pays in cash. Everyone leaves through the back. You tell yourself you're doing a public service for those who can't afford hospitals. You tell yourself it's okay because most of them aren't even criminals. They are construction workers without insurance, mothers who can't miss work, regular people with regular problems. You buy new surgical lights. You tell your ex-wife the clinic is finally turning a corner. 3 months pass. You've made more money in 90 days than in the last 2 years combined. Your filing cabinet is overflowing with envelopes. You start a second hiding spot behind the water heater. You feel capable. Needed. That was your first mistake. It's a Thursday night. You finish with a dislocated shoulder at 2 a.m. Easy job. You collect the cash and watch the patient vanish into the night. You lock the back door, grab your keys, and head to your car in the back lot. You notice the black van too late. 2 men step out, big, silent, and moving with professional purpose. Before you can scream, a heavy bag is pulled over your head. Everything goes dark. You are shoved onto a cold floor. After a short, silent drive, you are pulled out. It smells like a real hospital. They push you into a chair and cut your zip ties. The bag comes off. You are in a room with glass walls, looking at medical gear that costs millions. In the center is an operating table with a body on it. A man in a high-end suit stands before you. "You're the vet," he says. He points to the man on the table. Your heart stops. You recognize him. Everyone knows his face. He is the man who owns the ports, the police, and the very soul of this city. The crime lord. And he looks like he's dying. You shake your head. You tell the suit you can't do this. You're out of your league. The suit doesn't blink. "You've kept dozens alive with horse pills and fishing wire," he says. "This is just one more mammal." Hospitals ask questions. They file reports. We don't like reports. A guard rests his hand on his holster. "Begin," the suit orders. You scrub your hands. A woman in scrubs appears to assist you. You step into the glass room and check the vitals. Internal bleeding. It's a mess you've seen in dogs hit by cars. You tell them you have to operate now. Your hand hovers over the man's stomach. You hesitate. This man has destroyed thousands of lives. You could let him die right here. A simple complication. Nobody could prove a thing. But then you think of your daughter's smile. You begin. The next few hours disappear into a blur of blood and steel. The assistant is perfect, anticipating your every move. You wonder how many times she's done this. You wonder if she chose this life, or if the life chose her. 3 hours in. Your back is screaming, and your legs are numb. Sweat stings your eyes, but your hands are steadier than they've ever been. You tie the final knot. The crime lord is stable. He is alive. You don't feel proud. You feel empty. The suit enters. "Better than expected," he says. You pull off your gloves and ask for a ride home. You want to see your daughter. You want to sleep in your own bed and pretend this night was a dream. The suit doesn't move. He presses a button, and the glass walls turn opaque white. The door seals with a heavy electronic click. You pound your fists against the glass, but it's like hitting a mountain. You turn around. The crime lord's eyes are open. He's looking at you the way a cat looks at a mouse. "You saved my life," he whispers. You tell him you did what was asked, and now you need to go home to your family. He shakes his head. "A gift like yours is wasted on house pets." He points to a corner of the room. There is a bed, a desk, and a stack of advanced medical textbooks. "I've been looking for someone like you. Calm. Quiet. Resourceful." "No," you whisper. You tell him about your practice, your daughter's graduation, her wedding. "She'll be taken care of," he says. "Best schools, nice home. She won't even notice you're gone. Nobody comes to help." The suit's voice crackles over the intercom, "Get some rest. We start early tomorrow." You look at the locked door, then at the man on the table. You thought you were in control. You were wrong. You spent your life saving animals. Now, you've become one. In a cage.